A Monday. This is the second week in a row we're coming to you on a Monday. This might be the last Monday one for a while, so I think we're going to try to stick to the Tuesdays from now on. I've just been busy the last couple Tuesdays, so sorry for the inconvenience, but I hope you're able to tune in tonight. If not, you'll be watching this YouTube replay, and tonight we're going to be covering sleep schedules for musicians, creatives, all that good stuff. Setting a sleep schedule, what can happen when you don't, negative side effects of that, insomnia, how to deal with that, things of that nature. And I know that this is always like an interesting topic for creatives, especially because we don't really have a normal schedule. You know what I mean? Most of the time, unless you're working for a company directly that has, maybe set hours per day and per week. Especially if you're freelancing, most of the time you're kind of just making your own hours and you pretty much work when you can and when you have to work, which could be at weird hours of the day. So it kind of messes up your sleep schedule. I, for one, haven't really had to deal with that a ton because I still kind of make my own schedule. Even with freelancing, I kind of, schedule it out day by day and figure out, when is the best time for me to get things done. And for me, specifically speaking, I am a morning person for the most part, morning and afternoon person. I've always felt like I get the most work done at those times and that I do my best work at those times. I also can't really stay up super late. It usually hits anywhere from 11 to midnight and I'm pretty much just done. Like I'm kind of checked out mentally. My body kind of just starts shutting down. And there's exceptions to that. If I know that I need to stay up past a certain time to be able to get a job done or, do whatever I'm planning on doing, then I can kind of will through it. But on an average day, I'm not really staying up past midnight most of the time, which is kind of rare because a lot of people that do create at night. They're somewhat of nocturnal people. My body is just not made like that. So I think it's just kind of like a case-by-case scenario of, how do you deal with it and how do you make time for sleep. And I figured it was cool to talk about this week because it is something that I know people deal with. I know people with insomnia, and I know people that have opposite sleep schedules that I do. Like they might stay up all night and create, and then they sleep during the daytime. So I think it's not so much of like getting on everybody else's standards and everybody else's like page as far as when you're sleeping and when you're creating, but it's more about like, how do you find something that works for your lifestyle and what you do, and just kind of be aware of like the sacrifices that come with all the options that you choose, because no matter what you choose, you got to kind of sacrifice some time too. So I found a couple articles, and we're going to go through the one today primarily. I'm going to go ahead and leave the other one in the description. I'll have both in the description, but we're going to go over the one today that's called The Importance of Sleep for Music Creators, and it's by Health and Bass is the name of this website. And this was published in July of 2023. And this has a lot of good points to it. It kind of covers the main elements of what I was aiming to discuss today. So we'll start from the top. It says sleep is the foundational pillar of human health. As creators, the importance of sleep is often overlooked due to late nights in the studio, late night gigs, traveling across time zones, and more. Sleep is a fundamental psychological process that allows the body to rest, repair, and rejuvenate. Putting a good night's rest on the back burner can deteriorate our health over time and even have an effect over our creative abilities. Here are some key reasons why sleep is important. So it's kind of going to give you, I think there's like 7 or 8 different points here. So we'll talk about, we'll kind of just break them down one by one, kind of like we've done in these past articles. So the first one is enhances cognitive function. Our brains work better when we are well rested. Sufficient sleep improves cognitive abilities such as attention, concentration, memory, and problem solving skills. These cognitive functions are vital for creative thinking and innovation. So yeah, I mean, resting the brain obviously is the big thing because that's where our ideas come from. And I think everybody can relate to, let's say, maybe you pull an all-nighter, or maybe you are up really late the night before and you only get like a couple hours of sleep. I think it's just a natural process that your mind is not going to be as well rested. You're going to feel kind of hazy, a little bit foggy. You might, get some caffeine in you to kind of get you up and get you going. I've definitely had those days as well. Or even days where it feels like things aren't really coming to me as fast as they should. And maybe that's because of the lack of sleep or just kind of where the sleep schedule is. It not being very uniform, it not being very strict. Like going to bed one night at 8 p.m., then maybe you go to bed at 1 a.m. the next day, and like it's always different. Your body doesn't really like that stuff, you know what I mean? Because your body doesn't really understand like what you're kind of putting it through. So it says, obviously that the decision making, your attention, concentration, and I've even been at like my day job too after a night of not getting a lot of sleep, and I'm just like not really focusing and no attention to detail, you know what I mean? Like the little tiny things that you miss, or even like you kind of just put yourself at risk to make mistakes more often when you don't get enough sleep. So it's just something that we don't really think about, but it can definitely affect us. Sleep is essential for effective cognitive function. Losing even a few hours of sleep can have detrimental effects on a wide variety of cognitive processes such as attention, language, reasoning, decision-making, learning, and memory. So that just kind of expands upon that first point. The next one is promotes physical health. Sleep isn't only essential for the brain and cognitive abilities. According to sleep expert Dr. Michael Twerry, sleep affects almost every tissue in our bodies. It affects growth and stress hormones, our immune system, appetite, breathing, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health. Adequate sleep plays a vital role in maintaining physical health. During sleep, the body repairs damaged tissues, synthesizes hormones, and strengthens the immune system. Sufficient sleep is linked to a lower risk of developing chronic conditions like heart disease, diabetes, infections, obesity, and stroke. Sleep plays a crucial role in regulating hormone levels and maintaining hormonal balance. Sleep deprivation can disrupt the normal release of hormones such as cortisol, stress hormone, insulin regulates blood sugar, and leptin, which regulates appetite. This disruption can lead to weight gain, increased appetite, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of metabolic disorders. There's a lot of big words in this article. I feel like I'm a medical student right now, but yeah, I mean that's kind of just a summary of all the different ways that it can affect your actual body as a whole, because it just goes to show what a big part the brain is in our bodies, because it's connected to everything. So when you don't have that sleep, you're basically running at half capacity or less than half capacity. It's like you think of like your smartphone. When the battery health is damaged, your phone doesn't really perform the way it's supposed to. It lags, it overheats, things like that. And it's no different, with us. We have to keep our batteries healthy, and sleep is like one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself to be able to have that. So throughout the night, your heart rate, breathing rate, and blood pressure rise and fall, a process that may be important to cardiovascular health. Your body releases hormones during sleep that help repair cells and control the body's use of energy. Hormones can affect your body weight. And obviously, like weight gain and things like that, that kind of varies per person too, because a lot of people's metabolism is different than others. So for some, weight gain is something that they struggle with already. So, lack of sleep would kind of add to that. But if you've never been at risk of weight gain, if you're, not having a healthy, balanced, good night's sleep, you could put yourself at risk of that, which is tough to deal with. The next one, boost creativity. Sleep has been linked to enhanced creative and divergent thinking, which is the ability to generate unique ideas and think outside the box. Quality sleep allows the brain to consolidate. Yeah, I can do this, guys. Consolidate information and make novel connections, facilitating creative insights. An article in Scientific America even shares the ways in which our dreams can be used to unlock creative inspiration. Researchers highlight the importance of the different stages of sleep in facilitating creative insights and problem solving. REM sleep, also known as rapid eye movement sleep, is a phase of sleep characterized by vivid dreaming. This phase of sleep has been found to play a significant role in promoting creativity. This is because during the REM sleep phase, our brain activity resembles that of wakefulness, creating an optimal environment for creative connections to form. Scientific studies have shown that REM sleep can enhance our ability to make novel associations, think abstractly, and generate innovative ideas. Deep sleep, also known as slow wave sleep or SWS, plays a crucial role in creativity. During this stage, the brain engages in memory consolidation. That word is stumping the hell out of me. Processing and integrating information from our waking experiences. I'm gonna skip the word. This process enhances our ability to retrieve and combine existing knowledge in novel and creative ways. By solidifying memories and strengthening neural connections, deep sleep facilitates the creative synthesis of ideas. Man, a lot of big words. But that is interesting, especially the part about dreams, because, I think we've all had dreams that kind of stick with us a little bit, even though it seems like most of the time the dreams kind of come and go. Even the good dreams, it's like you wake up and then, you're like, wow, that was a really cool dream. And then you can only remember the fragments of the details for like a minute, and then it's gone. You know what I mean? Other dreams you remember fondly. And yeah, it's, you hear about specifically like musicians a lot say, when they write songs or maybe they come up with concepts for albums, that they're directly derived from a dream that they had or something that they remember from the dream, which I think is super cool. And, our dreams are pretty boundless. And the things that happen in dreams, a lot of times it's pretty weird stuff. But like, what can you do with that to help spark some type of creative idea? And you're kind of channeling that energy into being creative directly, which I think is super awesome. And that's really what we want to do. But basically what it's saying is you can't even experience that without the right amount of sleep. So you're kind of shutting yourself off from that possibility by being able to do that. And again, it kind of just says about that decision making and how all these things kind of coincide with the rest of the decisions you make while you're awake and while you're functioning on the day-to-day. So, pretty interesting. Next up, we have emotional regulation. Lack of sleep can impair emotional regulation, leading to mood swings, irritability, and decreased emotional resilience. Emotional stability is important for creative individuals as it can influence the quality of their work and interactions with each other. Getting enough sleep supports emotional well-being, enhances resilience to stress, and promotes positive mood and emotional balance. And obviously, as creatives, we're emotional people, right? We channel our emotions into our work. So if you have that distraction of being stressed out over lack of sleep, how well can you actually create art at that point? Because you're just going to be stressed. Which if you put two and two together, if you're stressed over that, you're not going to make great art, because stress is the big killer of great art. Because your mind is not where it needs to be. If you're trying to make something great, you're just going to be overthinking it, stressing out, thinking about the fact that you didn't get enough sleep. So now, you're making pretty lousy art, or something you're probably not going to be proud with at the end of the day. So keeping that in mind as far as being able to keep an emotional balance is a big thing. And yeah, again, it's probably something we overlook, because it's like you kind of think that things more directly are what's causing you stress, or things you're dealing with during your day. But it can even be things that you're missing because you're not sleeping. So you never think about that. You might overlook it. But next up, we have supports mental health. Sustaining good mental health is crucial for creative individuals. Sleep has a profound impact on mental. I think it was supposed to say sleep. It says leap. A little spelling error there. Sleep has a profound impact on mental well-being. Sustaining healthy sleep patterns promotes emotional stability, cognitive function, and mental clarity. Chronic sleep deprivation is associated with an increased risk of mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, and mood disorders. Sufficient sleep can help prevent or reduce the risk of mental health issues such as anxiety and depression, which can hinder creativity and productivity. I think this one is, pretty much directly related to the emotional balances as well, because, your mental health is directly related to that too. So those kind of coincide to me. And like we talked about on past streams, keeping your mental health stable and in a good place is crucial for living, not just for creative, works, but just for being a human being. And, things might not always be great, even if you do get a full night's sleep. So you kind of want to keep that in mind when it's time to, figure out what your sleep schedule is going to be. Because I think what this is trying to say, all these are trying to say, is you don't want to add more stress than what you already have, because it would kind of be very stupid to put yourself at risk on something like this when you don't have to. And yeah, there's good days and bad days, and not every day is going to be great. But if you can help yourself out by being able to catch up on sleep, being able to get enough sleep, you won't have to worry about kind of being that imbalance, kind of having that imbalance. So if you can get that balance, that's what you're kind of looking for. Let's see the last one. This is the last point right here. Circadian rhythms. The sleep-awake cycle is one of the most important circadian rhythms of the human body. Circadian rhythms are 24-hour cycles that are part of the body's internal clock. Different systems of the body follow circadian rhythms that are synchronized with the biological clock in the brain. They run in the background to carry out essential functions and processes. Circadian rhythms are tied to the cycle of day and night. This is because of our internal clock located in the brain. This is directly influenced by environmental cues, especially light and dark. When properly aligned, a circadian rhythm can promote consistent and restorative sleep. However, when thrown off, it can create sleep disruption and conditions such as insomnia. Current research shows The circadian rhythms play an integral role in various aspects of mental and physical health. Below are some tips on how to maintain a healthy circadian rhythm. So before I get into the tips, they actually have a graphic here with the tips. So we'll talk about these in a second. But like I said at the beginning about insomnia, I know people that have insomnia. It sounds miserable. I cannot relate to having insomnia because I don't have it. My internal clock is pretty relatively, I guess you could say normal, quote unquote, because that's normal for like society. But there's people that have it completely flipped around where they are pretty much up at every hour of the night, but they sleep a lot during the daytime. So it's kind of just flipped compared to what, some other people would have. But the internal clock thing is interesting, and I don't think it mentions this in this article, but I immediately thought of daylight savings time because that just kicked in this month during November. And I think about daylight savings time, how weird it is because it already gets dark earlier because of the season change, but then you lose an extra 2 hours of daylight. So, it gets dark now at 5 p.m., which is kind of crazy for the internal clock because the internal clock doesn't know oh, it's 5 p.m. It's still technically not that late, but it feels much later because you lost the daylight. So I think about that when I read that, and I wonder if they ever tackle things like daylight savings time because that could be in effect as well, as it adds on to the confusion of the internal clock. But let me read this. It's a little chart that they have here, and you'll see the graphic when you check this out on the replay on the article. So it's like a little clock, like a wheel, and it's just kind of showing the different steps. There's 6 different steps, and the first one is maintain a consistent sleep schedule. That's at the top of the list. And again, you got to ask yourself, what does that look like for you? Based on, I think it's based on everything. I mean, it's based on your internal clock, but it's based on your daily schedule. It's based on your just tendencies of your lifestyle and just kind of asking yourself what that is. Next up is exercise, which I, for one, neglect a lot more than I should because exercise is a big part of just keeping a healthy body and a healthy mind. No caffeine. Like I said earlier, a lot of people get that caffeine boost immediately in the morning because that's what gets them awake. You know what I mean? They drink coffee. They might get an energy drink, something like that, just to really kind of give them the energy boost. But if you're able to get more sleep, your chances of needing that kind of go down. But I know for a lot of people, that's a tough one to follow because it's kind of like that dopamine hit of you get the coffee every morning on your way to work, or you just make it at home, whatever you do. I don't drink coffee. I drink, some Coke or Pepsi every now and then, maybe some Sprite. That's about the only caffeine I, consume. Don't drink coffee. Don't drink energy drinks. Has that helped me be able to sleep better? Maybe. I honestly don't know because I've never known what it's like to consume a lot of caffeine. And I drink a lot of water these days. So I'm not drinking a lot of dark colas or just caffeine in general. I kind of just keep it to water, juices, things like that. Not all the time, but majority of the time that's what I'm consuming nowadays. No electronics before bed. I do struggle with this one because I am on my phone a lot and my laptop a lot. So checking the phone way more frequently than I should, limiting screen time. Off the top of my head, I know that they make apps where you can actually set timers for yourself to limit your screen time. And I think you can set it down to the very finite minute, saying, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Can't check the phone during those times or even later, because I also have the habit of checking it when I wake up, immediately, which is not good either, because you really need time to wake up and just kind of, get your day started in peace. Just find a way to, center yourself, maybe meditate a little bit, maybe just practice some breathing exercises. I always stretch every morning. Do things like that. So it says before bed, but I would argue it should say before and when you wake up too, because those things can all play a role, even though we don't think of it. It's like you got to think of like what that does. If you go to bed seeing something negative, or you wake up seeing something negative, that can kind of shift the energy of everything else that you're doing. So, you got to think of those things. Sunlight, which sunlight is something that we all very much enjoy. I, for one, don't see it that much, especially this time of year, because I live in a place where there's a lot more cloudy days than sunny days, and that's not a metaphor. That's literally the case. I live in Northeast Ohio, so there's literally, I think it's over half the year of the 365 days are days where the sun does not come out at all. And like, for example, the last couple of weeks, I feel like I've only seen the sun maybe twice. So, and again, it's getting dark earlier. So it's like, as humans, we like to have we really need to have the vibrance of the sun, the warmth, that energy, be able to absorb that. So if you don't have that, that can really hurt you. So just kind of figuring out where you can get sunlight, because if you live, in a place with bad weather during the wintertime, it's probably a lot harder. In the summertime, though, you gotta I think what that means is really just go outside, or maybe even in the winter and the fall, like when you can, go out and just enjoy the sun, just get out in the sun, because you feel good, what I mean, when you can kind of absorb that energy. But like I said, it kind of depends on where you live. Some people see the sun every day, so if you see it every day, good for you. But I think it's just saying get out there more, go for walks, kind of do those things. And this time of year is the toughest part, because you got those couple extra hours where there is no sun. So regardless, you kind of just got to make it work based on when you see it. So next up is short naps. It's actually the last one. It's short naps. I've never been able to figure out the nap thing personally. A lot of people can do this with no issues. Oh man, I swear I'm not sick anymore. Just kind of have a weird thing going on with my throat still. But a lot of people can figure out the nap thing, like taking periodic naps during the day. Maybe you have a set time to take a nap. Maybe it's like 1 p.m. Take a 30-minute nap. You could set a timer for yourself. Just like, set an alarm for yourself. Say, I'm going to take a 30-minute rest, wake up, get right back to it. For some reason, I just can't do it. Like, I've tried to do it, and like try to let myself just have that time if it's a day where I'm not like out and about, but I still just can't figure that out. And maybe I just need to work on being able to carve out that time more for myself. But I'm one of those people that's like, I always got to be working on something, or like I think there's always something I could be doing, even if that's not true, which most of the time it's probably not true. I'm probably just making work for myself that doesn't need to be there. So you just got to ask yourself, like, when can I carve out the time, and like how frequently. And I would set the schedule just like you do with your actual nightly sleep. Just kind of figure out, when can I do that? Is that something that will work for me? I hope one day I can figure out naps, because I know a lot of people that do it and they say it's very helpful. I just haven't been able to get there. So, but that is it. That is the full article. And again, it's called The Importance of Sleep for Music Creators. And the other one that I'm going to leave you guys, which we're not going to go over right now, but I'll leave it in the YouTube replay, is called The Importance of Sleep for Musicians. Slightly different title. And it's by Musical You. And this goes into some different things about sleep research. It gives more of an in-depth description on the side effects of sleep deprivation and how that can be damaging to you as a human being, even outside of creativity. Chronic sleep deprivation, night owl or early bird. It's talking about, do you stay up late or do you wake up early, or you kind of a mix of both. And then it kind of has a deep dive into, asking the questions on your own, like figuring out what your sleep schedule really needs to be, and just kind of carving something out that makes sense for you. So that's pretty much what I came up with today. Like I said, interesting topic, something that I know will probably at least be beneficial to some creators out there, because I've always heard that lack of sleep is a big thing in the field, because our hours are just weird, especially if you're freelancing, your hours are just whatever. Every day is kind of different. So I can totally relate to that, even though I can't directly relate to insomnia or anything like that. I know that there's people that can. So, hopefully that does something for you. Hopefully that sparks some type of way to make a change, or start figuring out how to make a change. If you've been losing sleep for months or years, maybe this is what you need to see or hear, or both, to start thinking about how to positively change your sleep. And I hope you can do it. And, if you are watching the YouTube replay, let me know in the comments, have you had experience with this? Are you working to improve it? All that good stuff. But like I said, check out those links. They'll be in the description of the video. Both very good reads. I'm sure there's a lot more out there that you can research and check out. But it's about a half an hour, so not too bad. Next week we're going to be back on a Tuesday, so like I said, we'll be returning to the Tuesday dates for the time being, for the most part, until the end of December. I'm going to have one that's going to be on a weird day, so I'll figure that out soon. But next week we're going to be discussing digital audio workstations, also known as DAWs, and that is FL Studio, Ableton, Logic Pro, Pro Tools, those sorts of things where you can create music. I've had a lot of people ask me about FL Studio, since that's the one that I use, but I do want to go into kind of an in-depth breakdown about all the different options that you have. If you're just starting out in music, or if you're looking to switch to a different DAW. So we're going to be discussing kind of all the major ones, the features, maybe some pros and cons. I'll do a nice little batch of research, get some articles picked out, and I'll just kind of go off my own experience of using FL Studio as well, and kind of just talk about all that good stuff. So yeah, so that's what we can look forward to for next week. But again, I hope this helped you guys out there. I enjoyed researching this. I enjoyed talking about it. But until then, like I said, December 3rd, so this was kind of the last one for November. But again, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Twitch channel, the YouTube channel. I haven't addressed it yet, but if you see this little donation thing right here, I think I'm pointing to it. Go to that link. I think it's streamlabs.com/AnthonyChurch24. If you feel like donating to this stream, if you felt like this was helpful at all, check out the donation link. I'm not someone that is going to harp on people for donations all the time. I just realized that I haven't really mentioned it, and it's been in all the streams. So if you want to do that, if you felt like you got some type of value, the support is appreciated. It's not mandatory. I just figured I'd mention it because I haven't mentioned it that much so far. But I really just do this because I feel it's necessary at the end of the day, and I enjoy researching and figuring out things on my own too. So, but again, thank you guys for checking it out, and we will see you next week on December 3rd. Until then, have a great rest of the week. Peace out.